Have you ever crossed paths with someone whose mere presence feels like a tidal wave of negativity? The kind of person who can drain the energy from a room faster than you can say, Stoic serenity? What if I told you that the secret to surviving these encounters doesn't lie in avoiding them, or wasting your energy on cleansing rituals, but in mastering your emotions and applying timeless Stoic wisdom? Stoicism teaches us how to stay calm and composed when the world around us spins into chaos. It's not just a philosophy, it's a way of life. By learning to recognize toxic behavior early, you can protect your peace, no matter how stormy the situation. Today, we're diving into the warning signs of those bad influences around you, without letting them shake your inner calm. But before we get started, if you're serious about mastering these habits and transforming the way people see you, go ahead and hit that like button. Why? Because when you take action, YouTube will spread this video to more people who are seeking exactly what you're learning right now. And when you share this content, you're helping others grow. So step up. Hit like, share, and don't forget to comment with your thoughts. No action, no transformation, remember. Before we dive into the first warning sign, let's take a moment to reflect. We all know someone who just seems to have a knack for throwing us off balance. Maybe they make us second-guess ourselves, or drain us emotionally without ever realizing it. But here's the thing. These people don't just appear out of nowhere. They have patterns, behaviors, and traits that reveal who they truly are long before they get the chance to affect us. And when we spot those signs early, we can dodge the bullet and stay centered, no matter what's thrown our way. So let's jump in. The first trait you need to watch out for is a classic, and it's often a sign of deep insecurity masquerading as confidence. Ready? Here it is. Number 1. Narcissism, the constant need for validation. Awe and narcissism. The most glamorous of all toxic traits, wrapped in a shiny, self-absorbed package. These individuals are like emotional black holes, sucking up all the praise and attention they can get, but they never seem full. It's as if their entire existence revolves around one simple question: how awesome am I today? The answer, in their mind, is always, absolutely amazing. But here's the kicker. Narcissists don't just think they're great, they demand that you do too. And if you're foolish enough to withhold the adoration they crave, they'll make you pay for it, one passive-aggressive comment at a time. Their need for validation is insatiable, and they'll drain you dry just to fill the gaping hole of insecurity. So how do you spot them? Easy. These are the people who can't finish a sentence without somehow turning it into a self-congratulatory monologue. They don't listen to you. They just wait for their turn to talk about how amazing they are. The narcissist sees everything through a lens of me, and you're just a supporting character in their personal drama. And here's where Stoicism steps in, like a bouncer at the club of your mind, ready to kick out anyone who doesn't deserve to be there. Seneca reminds us, "He who is brave is free." Meaning, when you stop chasing approval and validation from others, you free yourself from the shackles of their self-centered needs. You're not their audience. You're the star of your own show. So what's the actionable tip here? It's simple. Recognize that narcissistic people feed off your desire to please them. They will use your need for their approval to control your emotions. Don't bite. Instead, shift your focus back to you. Celebrate your own achievements, no matter how small. When you stop seeking validation from these attention-hungry energy vampires, you'll find your sense of worth is already enough. Number 2. Gaslighting, manipulating your perception of reality. Let's talk about gaslighting. The sneaky little mind game where someone makes you question whether you're losing your mind. It's like when someone insists that you said something you know you didn't say, or when they twist your words so well that by the end of the conversation, you're apologizing for something you didn't even do. It's the psychological version of a magic trick, except instead of pulling a rabbit out of a hat, They're pulling your sanity right out from under you. Imagine this. You're having a casual chat with a friend, and you mention how they made a comment last week that bothered you. Instead of owning up to it, they laugh and say, "I never said that. You must be remembering it wrong." Suddenly, you're standing there, wondering if your memory is playing tricks on you. Are you really the one in the wrong? Or are they just really good at making you second-guess everything? Spoiler alert, it's the latter. Gaslighting isn't just frustrating, it's manipulative. The goal here isn't just to confuse you. It's to slowly chip away at your perception of reality until you're questioning whether your own thoughts, memories, and feelings even matter. But here's where Stoicism swoops in to save the day. Seneca reminds us that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. So, the next time someone tries to gaslight you, remember, this isn't about what's actually happening. It's about their desperate attempt to control how you see things. The actionable tip: trust your own perception. When someone tries to distort your reality, take a step back and look at the facts. Did you say what they claim you did? Did they really behave the way they're trying to make you believe? Ground yourself in your truth and remember, your instincts are probably spot on. Don't let anyone make you doubt your own mind. Stay firm, stay clear, and most importantly, don't let them win the mind game. Number 3. Victim mentality. Playing the victim to gain sympathy. There's a special type of person who seems to have mastered the art of making everything someone else's fault. From a missed deadline to a failed relationship, somehow, they are always the victim of life's injustices. If life were a stage, they'd be the lead in the "woe is me" drama, with a never-ending supply of plot twists where they're always on the receiving end of unfair treatment. But what's really going on here? Are they really the victim, or are they just master manipulators who refuse to take responsibility for their own actions? Think about it. We've all encountered someone who seems to have a problem for every solution. The kind of person who doesn't own up to their mistakes, but instead turns every situation into a tale of injustice. Maybe they've been late again, and instead of admitting that they simply lost track of time, they blame it on the traffic or everything going wrong. They're constantly seeking sympathy, but never seeking change. It's a comfort zone of chaos, one where accountability has no place. This is where Stoicism offers us clarity. Confucius wisely said, "A man who has committed a mistake and doesn't correct it is committing another mistake." The victim mentality doesn't just keep people stuck in their past mistakes, it actively prevents growth. When we refuse to accept responsibility, we're choosing to remain in a state of self-deception. So what's the actionable tip here? Be mindful of those who constantly point fingers at everyone but themselves. It's easy to get caught in their emotional web, to feel sorry for them, or even take on their burden. But don't fall for it. Instead, encourage accountability in your relationships. Hold yourself, and others, to the standard of responsibility. Help them see that growth only happens when we own our actions, even the uncomfortable ones. Encourage self-awareness, not self-pity. After all, it's not about escaping responsibility. It's about transforming the way we face it. Number 4. Egocentricity. The world revolves around them. Let's dive into the world of egocentricity, where the sun rises and sets just to keep one person's world in perfect orbit. If you've ever encountered someone who genuinely believes they are the center of the universe, you know the drill. These individuals don't just walk into a room, they command it. Their needs, wants, and whims become the unspoken priority of every conversation, every interaction, and somehow, even the entire day. They're like human black holes, pulling all attention and energy towards themselves, leaving everyone else in their gravitational pull. You've seen it before, haven't you? That one friend or colleague who constantly interrupts, talks over everyone else, and expects to be the star of every conversation. No matter what the topic is, It always circles back to them, their accomplishments, their problems, their dinner plans. You could be talking about a recent vacation, and within minutes, it's somehow about their next vacation, and how much more exciting it's going to be. They don't just want attention, they demand it, with no regard for the lives or feelings of those around them. And here's the thing, the problem isn't just that they're talking about themselves. It's the fact that they expect a world to revolve around their needs, as if everyone else's priorities are secondary. It's exhausting. But here's where Stoicism throws a much-needed bucket of cold water on their delusion. Epictetus reminds us that freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. And my friends, the world of self-absorbed egocentric people is definitely something beyond our control. So what's the actionable tip? Here's where you've got to step up and protect your peace, all while maintaining your composure. Set boundaries, and I mean firm ones. Don't let them hijack every conversation or situation. When they monopolize the conversation, politely steer it back to include everyone, making sure they're aware that other people's stories matter too. A simple, "I'd love to hear about your trip, but let's make sure we also hear from Sarah about her project." It sounds exciting, can do wonders. You don't have to be rude, but you do have to remind them, through your actions, that their world doesn't center on their desires alone. And when they push those boundaries, stand your ground. If they insist on making everything about them, simply say, "I hear you, but I'd like to focus on this for a moment," and then proceed. Don't let them guilt trip you or try to pull you back into their orbit. Remember, being kind doesn't mean being a doormat. You can still be respectful, but don't be afraid to make it clear that the universe is much bigger than their ego. Number 5, entitlement, expecting special treatment. There's a certain type of person who walk through life as if they've been handed a golden ticket, expecting the world to roll out the red carpet for them at every turn. They're the ones who believe that their mere existence should warrant special treatment, regardless of their actions or contributions. You've probably encountered them, the individuals who ask for favors without hesitation, make demands without offering anything in return, and act as though fairness is something reserved exclusively for others. Entitlement is a subtle, yet corrosive mindset. It's not always loud or brash, but it quietly erodes relationships. The classic example? The colleague who always expects to be first in line for the best projects, the friend who always expects you to pick up the tab, or the family member who believes that your time should revolve around their whims. Their unspoken assumption is that their needs and desires automatically deserve priority, regardless of the effort they've put in or the respect they've earned. This sense of entitlement, however, isn't just irritating, it's damaging. It creates a dynamic where fairness and reciprocity are tossed aside, leaving you feeling used and unappreciated. But the Stoic wisdom of Epictetus serves as a gentle reminder. How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself? The time has come to stop tolerating this behavior, and to start demanding what you deserve. So what's the actionable tip here? First and foremost, stand firm in your values. Don't let anyone take your time or effort for granted, especially those who believe the world owes them something. If someone expects special treatment without earning it, gently but firmly set a boundary. For instance, when someone asks for a favor, it's okay to reply with, "I'd love to help, but I need to make sure I have the time and energy for it." Or, "I value reciprocity in relationships, so let's make sure we're both contributing equally." It's not about being harsh or unkind. It's about setting a precedent that you deserve respect, fairness, and balance. Your time is valuable, and your contributions matter. By calmly asserting your boundaries, you send the message that entitlement has no place in a relationship built on mutual respect. When you stand firm, you'll notice a shift, both in how others treat you, and in how you treat yourself. Number 6. Moral relativism, lacking a consistent ethical compass. Jack had always been the type to see the best in people, and when he met Mia, he was immediately taken by her beauty and charm. Mia had that magnetic quality, smart, attractive, and with a way of making every conversation feel like you were the only person in the room. But Jack, like many others, failed to notice that under her charm lay a deep moral ambiguity, one that she expertly hid behind sweet smiles and captivating eyes. It all started innocently enough. Mia would tell Jack how much she valued honesty and trust. They would talk about relationships, and Mia would emphasize how important it was to keep things transparent, always being upfront with each other. Jack felt lucky. He had found someone who seemed to share his values, someone he could trust. But over time, Mia's actions started to tell a very different story. One night, Jack caught Mia in a lie. Nothing too big, but a lie nonetheless. She told him she was working late, but he ran into her at a bar with another guy. When confronted, she laughed it off, saying, "Oh, it's nothing, Jack. We're just friends. You're overthinking it. I didn't want to hurt your feelings, so I just kept it low-key." Jack felt a pang of doubt, but Mia's charm, and the way she always turned every situation into something he could laugh off, kept him from truly questioning her. He brushed it off, thinking it was a one-time thing. But that was only the beginning. Over the next few months, Jack started noticing more cracks in Mia's story. She'd talk about how much she hated dishonesty, and how important it was to keep a relationship open, but her actions painted a very different picture. She'd go out with other guys when Jack wasn't around, often making up excuses that seemed to never quite line up. "I was with a friend, just talking about work," she'd say, but Jack couldn't ignore that. Just friends seemed to be a very fluid term in Mia's world. The real kicker came when Jack found out she had been seeing multiple guys behind his back. Mia had crafted this beautiful web, expertly manipulating Jack into thinking he was the one. She'd play on his insecurities, making him feel like he was the only one who truly understood her. Meanwhile, she was juggling men like a pro, each one a mere pawn in her game of emotional chess. Jack didn't see it. He didn't see the way she'd keep him on the hook, using affection to reel him back in whenever he started to question her. Mia's ability to twist the truth to fit whatever narrative suited her needs was a masterclass in moral relativism. She didn't care about the consequences of her actions. She would justify her behavior with flimsy excuses, convincing herself and Jack that everything was fine. "Everyone does it, Jack. You're being too serious. It's just a little fun." It wasn't fun for Jack. It was a trap, a manipulation that fed her need for attention, validation, and control. And Jack, he was too blinded by the love he thought they had to see the ugly truth. The Stoic insight here, from Marcus Aurelius, rings louder than ever. A good character is not made by external things, but by the inner life. And Mia's inner life, it was a tangled mess of contradictions, where ethics were as malleable as clay, twisted to justify whatever action benefited her at the time. She was willing to sacrifice the trust Jack placed in her to feed her ego, and she didn't see anything wrong with it. The actionable tip here? Pay close attention to the inconsistencies in their behavior, especially when their actions don't align with their words. Mia's values about honesty and trust were empty, just smoke and mirrors. If someone's moral compass shifts with the wind, if they justify betrayal with a weak excuse and play the victim when called out, it's time to walk away. Jack failed to see those red flags until it was too late. Moral relativism isn't just a character flaw, it's a toxic behavior that's designed to keep you in the dark, manipulated by their shifting standards. Don't let yourself be the next one caught in their web. Trust your instincts, and never settle for a relationship built on moral compromise. Number 7. Exploiting friendships. Using others for personal gain. Picture this. You have a friend, let's call him Sam. Sam is the type of person who always needs a ride, but somehow never offers to drive. He accidentally forgets his wallet whenever you go out to eat, and his phone just so happens to die every time you're in the middle of a conversation that might involve him doing a small favor for you. Sam doesn't really need your friendship. He needs your resources. It's a subtle thing at first. He's the charming guy, the one who always knows what to say when you're down. But over time, you start to feel like a walking, talking support system for his life's every little hiccup. And you begin to realize he's not really a friend. He's a friendship opportunist. Exploiting friendships isn't always obvious, but once you start noticing the pattern, it's like finding a glitch in the matrix. Toxic individuals will happily let you carry the weight of their problems, while they sit back and help you out with a series of "I'll return the favor" promises, most of which, like a bad diet plan, are never actually followed through. They're only there when it's convenient for them, using your time, energy, and generosity to fill the holes in their own life. They're expert manipulators, drain your emotional battery while they're plugged in, fully charged and ready for the next task. This is where Stoicism comes in. Marcus Aurelius puts it simply: the best way to avenge yourself is to not be like that. In other words, don't let these leeches make you a version of yourself you don't recognize. Don't start using people just because you've let yourself be used. It's about keeping your integrity intact while still protecting yourself. So what's the actionable tip? Be crystal clear with your boundaries. Let Sam know, with a smile, that you're happy to help, but only when there's a mutual exchange. Remind them that friendship isn't a one-way street. If Sam's always asking for favors, but never offering anything in return, it's time to have a polite, but firm, conversation about reciprocity. You don't need to call him out or start an emotional confrontation, but you can say something like, "I've noticed I'm always the one driving you around, and I think we need to find a better balance here. How about I get the next coffee?" At the end of the day, true friendship thrives on mutual respect and effort from both sides. If someone is constantly taking without giving, it's time to gently push them back into the friend zone where they belong. Your kindness is a gift, but don't let anyone take it for granted. Make sure your relationships are built on respect, not exploitation. Number 8. Constant criticism. Never satisfied, always demeaning. In the realm of toxic personalities, there exists a breed of individuals whose sole purpose seems to be to cast shadows over the brightness of others. These are the critics, the ones who feed on the weaknesses they perceive in others, elevating their own fragile egos by diminishing those around them. Like the mythological creatures who thrive on fear and self-doubt, they relentlessly undermine others, not to offer guidance, but to assert their own sense of superiority. Their criticisms are like arrows, each one carefully aimed to pierce the confidence of others, often disguised as constructive feedback, but always carrying the sting of devaluation. Such people are never satisfied. No matter what you do, it's never enough. If you climb a mountain, they'll point out that the peak isn't high enough. If you create something beautiful, they'll search for the smallest flaw to dismiss it as imperfect. In their world, there is no room for growth or success unless it serves to inflate their own importance. Their need to criticize comes not from a place of genuine desire for improvement, but from a desperate attempt to feel better about themselves by tearing others down. Marcus Aurelius, in his boundless wisdom, cautions us, "What we do now echoes in eternity." Our actions, and how we respond to the criticisms of others, have a ripple effect far beyond the moment. To internalize such negativity, to accept their false narrative of our worth, is to allow their small-mindedness to define our reality. If we let their words shape who we are, we become slaves to their insecurities. Instead, we must remember that their words are nothing more than hollow echoes, desperate attempts to secure their place in a world they feel they do not belong in. The actionable tip, then, is simple yet profound. Do not internalize their criticism. Recognize that their constant need to criticize others is rooted in their own insecurities and fears. It is not a reflection of your worth, but a reflection of their inability to build themselves up without bringing others down. Your worth is not for them to determine. Instead, practice self-love, resilience, and an unwavering belief in your own value. Build your confidence not by seeking their approval, but by fortifying it with the knowledge that you are enough as you are. Let their criticism bounce off you like an arrow aimed at an unshakable shield, for your worth is not to be measured by their attempts to tear you down. It is to be measured by the strength with which you stand tall in your own truth. Number 9. Greed, always wanting more, never satisfied. Greed, much like a never-ending thirst, is an insatiable force that can quietly seep into relationships, whether in love, friendship, or even in casual interactions with neighbors. It's that subtle, persistent desire for more time, more attention, more money, more of whatever it is that fills a void, but never quite satisfies. At its core, greed stems from an unhealthy mindset, one where the satisfaction of the moment is never enough, and the pursuit of more often comes at the expense of others. Imagine being in a relationship where, no matter how much you give, your partner always seems to want more. You plan a romantic evening, thinking it will show how much you care, only for them to ask for something bigger, more extravagant, or more expensive the next day. The thoughtful gesture isn't enough because their insatiable appetite for more has overridden the love and care behind it. Or perhaps, you've had a friend who consistently expects favors, yet, when it's time for you to ask for a little support, they're mysteriously unavailable, as if your needs are less important than theirs. This type of behavior isn't just annoying, it can be emotionally draining. Greed doesn't just show up in relationships, it can creep into your interactions with neighbors as well. Perhaps you've noticed that one neighbor always expects you to help with heavy lifting, borrowing tools, or even asking for your time. But when it's your turn to ask for help, the response is a resounding, "I'm too busy." Their greed isn't just for material things, it's for your time, your energy, your goodwill, without any intention of reciprocation. As the philosopher Socrates wisely noted, "He who is not content with what he has, would not be content with what he would like to have." This reminds us that the constant pursuit of more only leads to dissatisfaction, for no amount of external gain can fulfill the deeper need for contentment within ourselves. True fulfillment lies not in accumulating more, but in appreciating what we already have, both materially and emotionally. The actionable tip. It's simple, yet incredibly effective. Set clear boundaries. Recognize the signs of greed in others and protect your resources, whether that's your time, energy, or finances. If someone is constantly taking without giving, it's important to gently, yet firmly, set limits. For example, if a friend always asks for help but never offers to reciprocate, you might say, "I'm happy to help when I can, but I also need time for my own responsibilities." Or, in a romantic relationship, if your partner keeps pushing for more without appreciating what you've already given, it's okay to say, "I love you, and I want to give you my best, but I need you to appreciate what we already have." In these moments, you don't have to be harsh or confrontational. Setting boundaries simply means taking care of yourself, and not allowing others to drain you dry. The key is to remember that your time, love, and resources are valuable, and they deserve to be shared with those who are willing to reciprocate with respect and appreciation. By practicing this, you create a healthy balance where both you and those around you can thrive. Number 10. Drama creation. Thriving on chaos and conflict. There are certain individuals who seem to exist for one purpose: to stir the pot. They thrive on drama, like a fire that needs constant fuel to keep burning. These people create conflict out of thin air, turning peaceful situations into battlegrounds, and sowing discord wherever they go. Whether it's a family gathering, a friendly chat, or even a professional meeting, they are the ones who find a way to make things tense, to introduce unnecessary chaos, and to keep everyone on edge. But why? It's because chaos gives them control. By creating conflict, they position themselves as the center of attention, manipulating situations to make others feel uncomfortable, uncertain, or involved in their turmoil. You've probably encountered them. The friend who always seems to have a crisis brewing, the coworker who loves to gossip and escalate minor disagreements, or the family member who never misses an opportunity to throw a wrench into any peaceful moment. They'll start small, perhaps with an offhand remark or a sideways comment, and before you know it, you're sucked into their drama. Every conversation becomes a minefield, every interaction tinged with tension. They need conflict to feel alive, and they'll drag you down into it if you let them. The Stoic lesson here is clear. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. In the midst of their chaos, we have the power to remain calm, centered, and unaffected. Drama and conflict, while captivating for those who thrive on it, are nothing but distractions from our greater purpose. We must remember that we have no control over their need to create conflict, but we have full control over how we respond to it. The actionable tip: simply put, don't engage. When someone tries to pull you into their drama, remain calm and composed. Don't let their emotional turbulence disrupt your own peace. Respond with clarity, not reaction. For example, if a colleague tries to drag you into office gossip, gently disengage with, "I'm not involved in that issue, and I'd prefer to stay focused on the work we're doing." In a personal situation, if someone creates unnecessary conflict, remind yourself that you don't have to participate in their turmoil. Calmly say, "I'm choosing not to get involved in this." Remember, the true power lies in your ability to remain unshaken by the chaos around you. Let them deal with their own mess while you stay focused on your goals and your well-being. By keeping your emotions and your actions grounded, you not only protect your peace, but also show those around you that you won't be swept away by the storm of unnecessary drama. Closing. So there you have it, your guide to spotting the bad people in your life. Whether it's the narcissists demanding constant validation, the drama creators thriving on chaos, or those with a moral compass that constantly shifts with the wind, the signs are always there. And the beauty of Stoicism is that it gives you the tools to spot these toxic traits early and protect your peace. These people will always do these things. They're predictable, but you don't have to fall for it. Remember, while they might try to pull you into their chaos, you're in control of how you react. You don't have to be a pawn in their game. Instead, become the master of your own emotional state, just as the Stoics taught us. Stand firm in your values, set boundaries, and never let anyone's toxicity throw you off your course. So next time you spot these warning signs, don't hesitate. Take a step back, trust your instincts, and keep your focus on your own growth. These bad people, they'll do these things forever, but you don't have to engage. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, share it with others, and leave a comment below with your thoughts. Remember, action is the key to transformation. Let's keep this Stoic journey going together, one step at a time.